Here we are at the planning phase before we head out onto the hill. This could be for winter hill walking, this could be for winter mountaineering, or as it's going to be today, this is going to be for winter climbing. We're going to be using the Be Avalanche Aware system to help with our planning. And at this stage, when we're looking at the planning, we're going to be looking at the avalanche hazard, we're going to be looking at the weather forecast, and then that's going to help us with a decision as to what terrain we're going to head into and what venue we're going to use for today. This planning can be done at home, it can be done at work, it can be done in the afternoon or the evening before the day that you're heading out, as long as the information has been updated on the Avalanche Information Service and the Weather Service, or it can be done in the morning before you head out. You can do this on your phone, or you can do this on your laptop or your computer at home. All the information's out there ready for you to use. One of the main areas that we're going to look at in the planning phase is going to be the weather forecasts. And you don't want to just look at one weather forecast. It's really good to look at two weather forecasts. A, to see if there's consistency between the weather forecasts, or to see if there's differences that we need to look out for, but also just to help confirm some of the weather systems that are coming through for you. So one of the main ones that we would use is the Mountain Weather Information Service. This is set up by a mountaineer, by hill walkers, for mountaineers. It's given for an altitude of 900 meters, so it's set for the mountains themselves, and it's laid out in a very simplistic way. You get a quick overview of a synoptic chart, you get an idea of what's happening with the weather, but then the main factors, the most important factors, are laid out in this simple system here. You get a sound idea of how windy it's going to be, what the precipitation is going to be, potentially what the visibility is going to be, some of the sunshine idea, and then also what the temperature is going to be doing when you're out there. And then above and beyond that, it'll give you the following couple of days, so that might help plan your week as it's developing. So we've had a look at the Mountain Weather Information Service forecast, and we're now going to compare it to the Met Office forecast. Within the Met Office, you have the mountain-specific forecast, so we're going to look at the North Grampian forecast here. Bring it down to the pictorial part of the forecast. Generally looking at it, it's consistent with the MWIS forecast, which is good for us, so it gives us confidence in both of these forecasts. If we're taking the elements that are going to affect us the most, journeying through the mountains and the avalanche information that we need, it's going to be the winds, it's going to be the temperature, and it's going to be the precipitation as we move around. With the Met Office forecast, it gives us an incremental 3-hourly breakdown of the day, so that helps us plan in finer detail. And then here it also gives us bands of altitude as well, so we can set the altitude to the area that we're going to be operating at when we're out there climbing. So I'm getting an idea of the precipitation from the pictures across the top. I'm getting an idea of the wind speeds and how much that might be moving the snow around as well. If I scroll to here, I'm going to flick onto this, and this will give me the temperatures. So we've got some wind, we've got some precipitation falling as snow, and we've also got very cold temperatures. That in a nutshell is going to lead to snow moving around in the mountains. And if there's snow moving around in the mountains, then there's going to be avalanche forecasts or potential sort of building for sure. If we scroll down, rather than just the pictorial information, we also have the written information, the overview down here on this forecast as well. So very useful to compare the MWIS forecast and the Met Office mountain forecast as well. We're extremely fortunate here in Scotland to have the Scottish Avalanche Information Service. So if your day when you're heading out into the mountains in winter is going into one of the areas that the Avalanche Information forecast covers, be it Torridon, Cairngorms, North or South, Craigmeggy, Lochaber or Glencoe, then you're going to want to use the Avalanche Information forecast for the specific area that you're going to. Here we have the avalanche report for the Northern Cairngorms. If you've been following the trends over the week, then fantastic. If you're heading out for the day but you want to know what's been happening in the mountains over the last few days, you have a historical trend up here, and these will pull up historical avalanche information forecasts for your area. As we scroll down, we have the compass rows with hazards, details for you on the aspects and the specific altitudes, so you can draw from that and then relate it to the terrain that you're going to head onto. But not just using this alone, we draw information from the written forecast here on the side as well, and it'll help give you information like areas most effective will be around corrie rims, crag aprons, gully exits, flanks and steep sheltered convexity. So it helps paint that picture in your mind of what to expect when you're out there. Scrolling down again, we have the key snow stability observations. And tapping on these, it'll give you an idea of what to expect when you're out there or what to look out for when you're out there. But it'll also give you an idea of the trend, whether it's stabilising, whether it's increasing in risk, or whether it's decreasing in risk. At this planning stage, we've looked at the weather forecast, we've looked at the avalanche information forecast. We're now going to tie that into what might be happening on the ground. So we have the map here. We're going to look at leaving the ski car park and heading up into the northern corries. We're going to look at coming into Corrie and Schnechte here. With the avalanche information forecast, we know that these easterly aspects through to northerly aspects are generally going to be a no-go area. So we're thinking of operating with a westerly aspect, which details on the forecast as being the safer aspect. When we're in the bottom of the corrie here, we're going to make a decision as to whether it's safe to head up onto that westerly aspect. If it is, great, we're going to head up towards the Mesa Pottage. If we don't think it's safe up there, or we don't have any other options within the corrie, at the end of the day, the safest option is just to turn around and head back out of the corrie. At our key place in the bottom of the corrie, if we decide that heading up to the Mesa Pottage is safe on that westerly aspect, we know that the crag itself holds a number of different climbs. So again, depending on our observations as we're in there, we can then commit to a route that looks in condition or fits the grade for our own ability and the equipment that we're going to be carrying as well. We're thinking about journeying in, we're thinking about on the route, but we also have to keep in mind the descent. Topping out on the Mesa Pottage will put us on the plateau, and getting off the plateau we can head to 1141 and down this northerly ridge. Even though it's on a northern aspect, because of the shaping of the ridge, it should be scoured and clear of snow, which will give us safe passage to the north to then descend back down to the ski car park. Now we know where we're going. The next video is going to look at the planning phase of what we're going to carry for a full day out in the Scottish Winter Mountains. And the main focus is going to be on what we'll carry for mixed climbing in the northern Cairngorms.